Great to have Jeff Howe with us, our Patriots Insider from The Athletic Boston. And this is a big one. They've all been big ones going back to the game against the Ravens, but they lost that, but they beat the Eagles, they beat the Cowboys. What's your thought on the surface about what we should expect Sunday night?
Well, I don't know if you've heard this, but the Patriots take things personally.
Oh,
so
they do?
They do. They're going to hang up their big bulletin board, a lot of stuff, everything that everybody said about them after that Baltimore game, which was on national television, and they're going to say that they have to have a better effort because this is going to be a chance for them to really make a statement. You talk about a Houston team that is one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the AFC. You're on national television. You got an MVP candidate, if not favorite, in DeShaun Watson on the other side. You got the Gilmore-Hopkins matchup. And this is just a great opportunity for that defense to tell everybody who doubted them after the Baltimore game that, you know what, who they have been in the 10 victories is truer to who they are than the last national stage performance.
All right, here's why I like you. The reason number one, and there's a lot of reasons I like Jeff, but this one is the number one reason. You were on this Stephon Gilmore train, I think, long before the national media caught up. You did it by looking at film, by checking out how many times he touched the ball versus how many times the opponent even touched the ball, let alone had a reception. What he's been able to do is remarkable, and you mentioned that he's going up against DeAndre Hopkins, which is going to be a fascinating matchup. How do you see those two going up against each other? And then expanding on that, what's made Gilmore so good? He's gotten better each and every year.
Yeah, I mean, he's as good as it gets, and this matchup is too. I mean, maybe short of Gilmore and Michael Thomas if they meet up in the Super Bowl. But with Hopkins, they met twice now since Gilmore has become a Patriot. 2017, Gilmore did pretty well. That was his best, or his first really good game, I guess, as a Patriot. Remember, he had those struggles. There was the zone deficiencies, and there was some miscommunication. And that's when he started to turn it on. Then he had the concussion, and then he really started to light it up on the other side of that concussion down 2017. And then all the way through 2018. But this season has been just fascinating. His preparation reminds me of Logan Ryan in the way that he studies opposing receivers. I mean, Logan Ryan was a technician to the truest sense of the word. And Gilmore has that, plus even more talent and athleticism. I mean, that interception in front of Amari Cooper was just a straight-up robbery. I had no idea how he came up with that ball. And Belichick said it's one of their plays of the year so far. Through 11 games, his assignments have caught 18 balls on 51 targets. He's gotten his hands on 15. So he is nearly as likely to get his hands on a ball as the guy who he's covering, who in a passing league is supposed to have the advantage in those situations. So that's remarkable. But then coming off back-to-back shutouts, he's had, I think, 4 games so far this season when he's disrupted more passes than his guys have caught.
That's ridiculous. So we talk about the future of the NFL and who are going to be the quarterbacks who take over when Rodgers retires, when Brady retires. And we're starting to see it. We're starting to see it with Mahomes. We're starting to see it with DeShaun Watson for sure. As we get set to see these two teams square off, you got to feel that DeShaun's going to be hearing it all week, the comparisons to Brady, and are you going to be ready to take that place ultimately as one of the top quarterbacks in the league? But he's certainly doing at least a small portion of taking those right steps. What do you think he's doing right?
Well, when his line gives him a chance, he's as accurate of a passer. He's innovative. He's athletic. He's really hard to bring down, although I think he's been sacked about 3 times a game this season. So even though the line is improved and it's the best that the Patriots will have seen from a Houston offensive line in a few years, they're still not all that great at pass protection. So when he's able to stay upright, again, he's so creative in a Mahomes sort of way. And then the escapability, it's not in the Lamar Jackson level. I mean, he'll run for about 30 yards a game, but he's a pass-first quarterback who can run if necessary. But the Patriots have been so good, and they did a lot of it against Dak Prescott on Sunday. They'll always have somebody spying. And it's not necessarily like, a Patrick Chung or a Kyle Van Noy over the middle. You might have a John Simon on the edge or a Kyle Van Noy on the edge, and they'll do it creatively, and they'll make sure that their run lanes are disciplined. And I think all of the things that DeShaun Watson does well, you're still going to see a pass rush that will be superior to what you saw against Dallas on Sunday, because Dallas's offensive line was really, really good. Houston's is a major step back. Even though they're improving, they got the Tunsil trade and everything like that, you can still get after Watson. So we'll see. It's a matter of survival for Watson. But when he survives, man, he's electric.
Fun to watch. Let's take the microscope and put it on the Patriots offense, because they got a break. They get a respite from the microscope when you play in the conditions like they did on Sunday. It's one of those games that you get through, you play 60 minutes, you try to win, and be happy with the fact that, Tom Brady was able to get his young guys involved a bit more, so maybe some confidence for them as we move forward. But now, once again, national national spotlight, Sunday Night Football, controlled environment. This offense better start clicking or they're going to start hearing those chirps again.
Well, they're lucky they don't have to deal with J.J. Watt, but Whitney Merciless is still a tremendous pass rusher. He's the best they have. Their pass rush is kind of a team effort, not unlike the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots pass rush is great, but they don't necessarily rely on one guy, so it's going to come from a lot of different angles. If they can keep Brady upright, I don't think the Texans' back seven, or particularly the back 4 or 5 in the secondary, is going to be all that competitive. The problem is, what is Jacoby Myers and N'Keal Harry going to be able to bring you? And can they be those complementary pieces if they have to be? And, is Brady going to rely on the running backs in the passing game more than he did against Dallas? I mean, I thought that was kind of surprising. But Isaiah Wynn, he allowed 6 disruptions on Sunday, which is tied for a season most. I mean, everybody got all over Marshall Newhouse during his, 9 or 10 appearances as a Patriot. Marshall Newhouse never allowed 6 disruptions in a game, so they need Isaiah Wynn to be better. I'm confident he will be. I mean, Robert Quinn's a tough matchup for a guy who hadn't played in 10 weeks, and Robert Quinn really got the better of it, which surprised me. But again, Isaiah Wynn has shown so much for a year and a half, at least in the times that he's been on the practice field or the game field, that I have the confidence that he will turn it around and be better. All
right, really tough 5-week stretch. You've got the Ravens, you got the Eagles, you got the Cowboys, and you got this game against the Texans and the Chiefs at home. We've been talking about it for months. We're right in the middle of it, 2-1 so far. Jeff Howe will be down in Houston to follow the game. Don't forget to check out all his stuff on The Athletic Boston. Thanks as always for joining us.
Absolutely.